My name is Amber Reid, R-E-I-D, birthday 12/27/90. I'm turning 32, but like I'm almost positive my like mental age, like my brain is stuck at 17. I'm actually starving, so okay, yes, I troll. Whatever, Trollin has entered the chat. I'm totally fine with a clickbait title because you guys know I love me a clickbait title. You're not paying attention to your health, you don't care about your health, you don't care about your body, you want to die, you could have ate healthy, you chose not to, do you really need to go on vacation, you need to buy health insurance instead. I just don't want to hear it.
No one cares!
Hey guys, Grüße aus Deutschland, greetings from Germany. In this video I would like to do what I announced a few videos ago. I would like to read to you the YouTube policies concerning suicide, self-harm and eating disorders policy. Of course in relation to Amberlynn Reid's content, who has been violating the terms of service on YouTube for 9 years now. But let's stick to reading the text first, because I'm aware of the fact that a lot of people out there are not going to sit down and read through all of it, and so I'm going to read it to you. So what I'm going to read to you is the YouTube policies on suicide, self-harm and eating disorders policy. The headline is Suicide, Self-Harm and Eating Disorders Policy. The safety of our creators, viewers and partners is our highest priority. We look to each of you to help us protect this unique and vibrant community. It is important you understand our community guidelines and the role they play in our shared responsibility to keep YouTube safe. Take the time to carefully read the policy below. You can also check out this page, and then you can click on it if you like, for a full list of our guidelines. Note, on April 18, 2023, we updated our eating disorders policy to better protect the community from sensitive content that may pose a risk to some audiences. We may remove imitable content, age-restrict content, or show a crisis resource panel on videos about eating disorders or self-harm topics. The below policy is updated with these changes. You can learn more about our approach in this blog post, and then you can click on it if you want. At YouTube, we take the health and well-being of our creators and viewers seriously. Awareness and understanding of mental health is important, and we support creators sharing their stories, such as posting content discussing their experiences with depression, self-harm, eating disorders, or mental health issues. However, we do not allow content on YouTube that promotes suicide, self-harm, or eating disorders that is intended to shock or disgust, or that poses a considerable risk to viewers. What to do if you find this content? If you believe someone is in danger, get in touch with local emergency services for help. Flag the video, and then you can click on the link, which makes me think I should actually put a link to this whole thing that I'm reading now in the description box, and I'm going to do that so that you can easily find the link on which you can click to flag a video that violates policy. Flag the video to bring it to our attention. If you find yourself being negatively affected by any mental health, suicide, self-harm, or eating disorder related content you come across, know that there is support available and you are not alone. In the next section, you can find a list of resources and contact information for organizations that can offer advice. For general guidance on how to talk to someone who you may be concerned about, contact local helplines. What to do if you need support. Okay, I'm gonna skip this because I think that all of us out here that are either making this video or watching it, we know how to find help, right? I'm just gonna scroll down here. They got several countries. Germany too. United States, Australia, Yeah. So I'm gonna post a link to what I just read and where you can find it in the description box. Eating disorder support resources for the United States, United Kingdom, and India. Alright, it continues. Community guidelines for posting suicide, self-harm, or eating disorder related content. YouTube users should not be afraid to speak openly about the topics of mental health, suicide, self-harm, and eating disorders in a supportive and non-harmful way. However, there are times when content is created that is sensitive and may pose a risk for some users. When you create content that contains suicide, self-harm, or eating disorders related topics, take into account the possible negative impact of your content on other users, especially minors and users who may be sensitive to this content. To protect and support your viewers and other users, please follow the community guidelines below when creating content related to suicide, self-harm, or eating disorders. Not following these community guidelines may result in a strike, removal of your content, or other restrictions to protect users. This community guidelines policy applies to videos, video descriptions, comments, live streams, and any other YouTube product or feature. Keep in mind that this isn't a complete list. Please note these policies also apply to external links in your content. This can include clickable URLs, verbally directing users to other sites in video, as well as other forms. Don't post the following content: content promoting or glorifying suicide, self-harm, or eating disorders, instructions on how to die by suicide, engage in self-harm, or engage in eating disorders, including how to conceal them, content related to suicide, self-harm, or eating disorders that is targeted at minors, graphic images of self-harm, visuals of bodies of suicide victims unless blurred or covered so they are fully obscured, videos showing the lead up to a suicide or suicide attempts, and suicide rescue footage without sufficient context, content showing participation in or instructions for suicide and self-harm challenges, such as Blue Whale or Momo challenges, suicide notes or letters without sufficient context, content that features weight-based bullying in the context of eating disorders. In some cases, we may restrict rather than remove suicide, self-harm, or eating disorder content if it meets one or more of the following criteria, for example, by placing an age restriction, a warning, or a crisis resource panel on the video. Please note, this is not a complete list. Content that is meant to be educational, documentary, scientific, or artistic. Content that is of public interest. Graphic content that is sufficiently blurred. Dramatizations or scripted content which includes but is not limited to animations, video games, music videos, and clips from movies and shows. Detailed discussion of suicide or self-harm methods, locations, and hotspots. Graphic descriptions of self-harm or suicide. Eating disorder recovery content that includes details which may be triggering to at-risk viewers. Best practices for creators posting content about suicide, self-harm, or eating disorders. We recommend using these best practices in content related to suicide or self-harm to protect your viewers from harm and distress. Avoid showing the person who died by suicide and respect their and their family's privacy. Use wording that is positive and supportive and focuses on recovery, prevention, and stories of hope. Include information and resources for suicide and self-harm prevention and coping strategies. Try to include it in both the video itself and the description of the video. Do not use sensationalist language or dramatic visuals. Provide context, but avoid discussing how the victim died by suicide. Do not mention the methods or locations. Blur content that contains images of suicide victims. You can blur your video with the editor in YouTube Studio. We recommend using these best practices in content related to eating disorders to protect your viewers from harm and distress. Focus on the impact of the disorder instead of the details of the disordered eating behavior. Tell your audience that eating disorders commonly cause severe complications. Include info and resources for eating disorder prevention and coping strategies. Try to include it in both the video itself and the description of the video. What happens if content violates this policy? If your content violates this policy, we'll remove the content and send you an email to let you know. If we can't verify that a link you post is safe, we may remove the link. If this is your first time violating our community guidelines, you'll likely get a warning with no penalty to your channel. If it's not, we may issue a strike against your channel. If you get 3 strikes within 90 days, your channel will be terminated. You can learn more about our strike system here, and then you can click on it if you like. We may terminate your channel or account for repeated violations of the community guidelines or terms of service. We may also terminate your channel or account after a single case of severe abuse or when the channel is dedicated to a policy violation. You can learn more about channel or account terminations here, and then you can click on it. Finally, we may also limit your access to live streaming if you suggest that you'll live stream content that will violate our community guidelines. Learn more about restrictions on live streaming. Warnings and supportive resources. YouTube may show features or resources to users when content contains suicide or self-harm topics. For example, a warning on your video before it starts playing, indicating that it contains content relating to suicide and self-harm. A panel under the video containing supportive resources such as phone numbers of suicide prevention organizations. And so, you guys, this is basically it. I will post the link to what I just read in the description box so that each one of you can follow the link and read it themselves. What I would like to do now is go through what I just read again and shine a light on in how many ways Amberlynn Reid has violated terms of service on YouTube. We all know that she has definitely one eating disorder, and we don't know which one that is. We're not healthcare professionals, and even if we are, we cannot diagnose her from afar. But from the content she has posted on her channel for 9 years, since November 2013, we can tell that she has absolutely no control over how much food and what kind of food she puts into her body, which means she most likely has an eating disorder that she is not able to control. While in this video I would like to focus on what terms of service Amberlynn Reid has violated concerning the eating disorder policy. It is also known that Amberlynn Reid has been clickbaiting and trolling, which the definition of we see here, which admitting, and she has been admitting to trolling on her channel countless times. The act of trolling is actually bullying, which is also forbidden on the YouTube platform. And so by trolling with content that she might not mean that seriously, but that she uses in order to get the audience going and bring up the viewers against her so that they keep talking about her. She's also bullying the audience, which she has been doing for years now. And that is not even mentioning the fact that she has been addressing her audience in a very condescending way.
You are a disrespectful piece of shit.
Calling them psychos, telling them that she is so much better than them, and things of the sort. It is documented on Amberlynn Reid's channel. If any of the YouTube employees are watching this and need the sources, please contact me. I can look it up for you and send it to you. Okay, but in this video we would like to focus on how she violates the terms of service concerning eating disorder policy. Let's see. It says here, however, we do not allow content on YouTube that promotes suicide, self-harm, or eating disorders that is intended to shock or disgust or that poses a considerable risk to viewers. Now, she's been doing that countless times. She has posted mukbangs where she is self-harming herself by eating copious amounts of food. And at the same time, and the shrimp mukbang was a very clear example or display of that, while she was eating food, she was telling the audience that it's none of our business or none of their business what she eats and how often she eats. You know, none of this is our business, it's only hers. Only she used YouTube as a platform to provide herself with an income, and so she admittedly used shocking content in order to have people click on her videos, and that way she made her money. And so she was clickbaiting, which is also frowned upon in the YouTube community or in the terms of service. She clickbaited the measurements of her physical body that have significantly increased in the past 9 years. And so she's often using full body shots or almost full body shots. The number of thumbnails she used where she was not only eating, but in every single thumbnail, she had her mouth wide open, she looked at the viewfinder, and she put a lot of food either in her hand and close to her mouth, or it was almost in her mouth, or she had a fork with or a spoon or whatever with which she put the food close to her mouth, just to shock the audience and clickbait them into clicking on the video. All of this was based on an eating disorder that she has that has made it impossible for her to eat, for her height and her age, eat normal amounts of food that is necessary to nourish her body, and not overeat on a daily basis and pretend at the same time, which is also being deceptive because she's not being honest about how she treats her body. She says she's doing the damn thing, I'm quoting here, and she's also saying that she is on a diet or she's been losing weight, and that has for the almost entire time frame of 9 years on her channel been a lie. So she's not only being deceptive but dishonest. She exploits and monetizes her food addiction, and she talks about it for the most part as if it's not a big deal, you know, or that the audience should be taking it so seriously, or they shouldn't call her out on lying. In the next paragraph it says what to do if you find this content. If you believe someone is in danger, get in touch with you. If that is not the case, even if she was in danger, I mean, her pets have been reported to animal control. Amberlynn Reid would never admit that she's completely out of control or has no more control over her eating habits. But What I find important is this one: flag the video to bring it to our attention. And that is something that I'm not saying anybody should do it, but I'm saying maybe it would be helpful to Amberlynn Reid's health if a lot more people actually considered clicking on flagging a video and then maybe watching this video too, and then reporting Amberlynn Reid videos that violate the terms of service. I think that should have happened a long time ago, and I am personally glad that YouTube has updated their policies, because there's a lot of abuse going on Amberlynn Reid's part on her channel, just for financial gain. And she's been getting away with it for long enough. Or here, if you find yourself being negatively affected by any mental health, suicide, self-harm, or eating disorder related content. Amberlynn Reid has been talking about having all kinds of diagnoses that she never proved she had and later on just dismissed or not mentioned again. But all the communities that she has alienated and infuriated by abusing mental health terms on her channel, also mentioning her suicide ideation in the video where she announced that she's quitting YouTube. Self-harm is every single time she talks about overeating, which she doesn't do much anymore, but she has done it a lot. And I would like to point out here that it's not the fact that Amber is talking about problems with weight loss on her channel, but the fact that for 9 years she's been talking about losing weight, but has documented on her channel gained over 200, I think it's well over 200 pounds. And so she should not be able to talk about these things anymore, because she is just showing that somebody that has completely failed at weight loss on every level is such a food addict that they should not be given out advice that is harmful to the audience, and it should not be tolerated. Because at the same time, she also admits that she is very successful in, being on YouTube, but that is only because of the shock value of her gaining so much weight while pretending to be on a weight loss journey. That is a slap in the face of everybody that is trying to lose weight. And so every video retroactively should be whatever YouTube deems a fitting activity to keep this from the audience. Either age restrict the videos, in all of the videos where she was talking about self-harm, because she never did it in a helpful way to others. She always did it in a way that it was feeding her ego and that it was helping her, in her eyes, it never worked, but helping her fix her reputation. But she wanted to clickbait and she wanted to monetize on the fact that she has a lot of physical, mental, and emotional problems due to the fact that she is at a certain body weight. And those videos should be demonetized, deleted, or age restricted, I think. This is only my opinion, but I just wanted to say that here. Eating disorder related content is anything where she I think she is violating the terms of service, because she is not being authentic about it. She's not being honest about it. She lies about what she eats. She lies about being on track, in quotation marks, when she is not. And she has been gradually gaining weight while trying to sell the premise to the audience that she has been interested in losing weight. And so now for the past 5 months, she's been clickbaiting and monetizing videos in which she talks about mental health problems and wanting to aim for weight loss surgery, which she will only be permitted to have if she proves that she can lose enough weight or is in a good enough mental state, which is not the case. And anybody that has been watching her, that doesn't even have to be a healthcare professional, can tell that Amberlynn Reid is not fit to undergo a surgery that will make her stomach smaller, because she will not be able to not overeat just because her stomach is now smaller. So the risk of her suffering from even more ailments or even very difficult complications inside of her body is that is a given, that is most likely going to happen. So yeah, the resources for posting self-harm. Here we go. YouTube users should not be afraid to speak openly about the topics of mental health, suicide, self-harm, and eating disorders in a supportive and non-harmful way. She is not doing it in a supportive or non-harmful way. She is doing it coming from her perspective of being the food addict that cannot or does not have any control over how much food she eats. She has been told by doctors she needs to lose weight. By her own statement, she already suffers from high blood pressure. She has problem with her gallbladder because she has gallstones. And she has, if that is correct, she only stated it on her channel, she has been diagnosed with lymphedema or lipedema, and that is dangerous. And she's had several diagnoses that would indicate that weight loss is mandatory for her to expand her lifespan. And yet, even though she's been knowing these diagnoses for years now, she obviously is not doing anything to lose weight. It is pretty clear in the videos that she's been posting that she's been gaining weight, and so she is glorifying being obese and making a living on YouTube by shocking the audience with images, with statements, and with her continued ignorance towards the necessary weight loss that has to happen now. She has been glorifying obesity, gluttony, and laziness on her channel for 9 years now. She's been caught in one lie after another, trying to convince the audience that she is a functional member of society when she was not. With the money that she was given by YouTube for the views that she got, because of the shock value of how she lives her life and how she makes decisions and how she's been gaining over 200 pounds within 9 years, she's been flaunting to the audience the ways in which she spends her money on clutter for the apartment, on how many $1,000s a month she spends on takeout and grocery hauls. And I find that appalling, and that is glorifying obesity. Along with, I just remember that when she said that the Torrid hauls, the clothing hauls that she used to do a lot of on her channel, she could get a tax write-off for that, because she was basically doing advertisement for the company Torrid. And she told us that she was making more money on those Torrid hauls that she had spent on the clothing. And so she's been flaunting to her audience that she's her own boss, and that she has made it to this point. Just recently in the last 2 videos, she has emphasized that she has made it to this point. She has this success, that she has over 200,000 subscribers, even though her views top out at around 30,000 a video, and that is not in one day, but in all the days if you look back at the videos on her channel. And she is very proud of that, even though her entire income was based on manipulating, trolling, and lying the audience and monetizing her food addiction and her inability to control the amounts of foods she ingests every single day. I find that wrong, and I just wanted to point out all these things in relation to the latest policy change on YouTube. I would love to hear what you have to say about that, and so I will see you in the comments, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.